Look, excited to get back in the win column. Excited to get a win here at home. It was a good football team we played against yesterday and presented a bunch of problems, as I said on Friday. Anytime you see Aaron Rodgers on the other side of the ball, it's you got to put four quarters and more if need be. Very proud of just the way the guys responded. And saying that, you watch the film and there were definitely still plays that we left out there. At this time, look, Drake is in the NFL concussion protocol, so I'm not going to get too much into that as far as Drake questions. What I told the guys in the locker room last night was, that next man up mentality. It doesn't matter what position you play. You could be a defensive lineman, offensive lineman, whatever, or a quarterback, which we saw yesterday. And kudos to Jacoby for being ready to go when we needed him. I would say there was, a couple of examples as far as complimentary football. We had a 3-and-out, then a good punt return that led to a touchdown. That's the complimentary football we need to play if we want to be successful going forward, and that's my message to the team.
And for questions, we'll start with Doug Kyde, followed by Mark Daniels.
Good morning, Jerod.
Good morning, Doug.
We saw Joshua Uche was inactive in yesterday's game, despite not being on the injury report. Was that related to the NFL trade deadline, related to something else? What led to that decision?
It was just a healthy scratch, and we also to put the best team out there that we think gives us the best chance to win.
Thank you.
Next question, Mark Daniels, followed by Chris Ryan.
Hey, Jerod. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yesterday, it seemed like there were more drops than usual from the receiver group, and a lot of the players admitted that after the game. Just was that a focus thing? What did you see from that group, and what do they need to do here to respond and sort of get over that?
They need to get better. I mean, those guys went out there and they were open at times. And when the job of a receiver is to get open and catch the ball, and if you're really good, run with it afterwards. So they definitely have to get better, and they understand that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Chris Ryan, followed by Dakota Randall.
Morning, Jerod. How are you?
Good morning, Chris.
I want to ask you about the touchdown drive and the execution that you saw on that. Obviously, 12 plays, 70 yards, brings it down to 22 seconds left. Overall on the drive, what stood out to you in watching the film?
Just the overall operation. I joked about on that drive before that drive started. Usually, I don't give AVP any timeouts or anything like that going into a game-winning drive, and I thought those guys went out there and executed well.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Dakota Randall, followed by Mike Reese.
Jerod. It looked like Drake, he might have been slow to get up after the hit and was moving slowly between plays. Just wondering, did you see any warning signs from him after the hit? And what was the conversation like with him before he went into the medical tent?
I did not. I was surprised when Waylon told me he had to go to the medical tent because he threw a couple of good balls afterwards, and I thought he was still pretty sharp in those regards. But obviously it's above my pay grade as far as like pulling him out of the game and putting him in the protocol.
Next question, Mike Reese, followed by Taylor Kyles.
Morning, Jerod. Can you just repeat what you mentioned about before the final drive with AVP, that you usually don't give them timeouts, or I didn't quite follow you there. What did you mean?
I was saying in practice. Sorry, in practice we go through that situation, multiple times a week, and usually I say, all right, it's a minute with no timeouts, and we operate that way. So when you do get timeouts, it's a bonus for them.
Gotcha. Thanks for clarifying that. And the touchdown run to win the game. When you went back to watch it, I'm curious what you saw.
Yeah, it's the same thing I said last night where, there comes a point in time where everyone knows you're going to run the ball and you got to beat the man across from you. And I've never wavered in saying that Ramondre is one of the best backs in the league, and why not give it to him? We should give it to him in that situation, and the offense capitalized.
And then one quick follow-up, just theme-wise on the same topic. You had 7 offensive linemen on the field on that play with Thomas and City as the fullback, right?
Yeah.
We also saw Lacidus actually on the first play of the game, but he come in and almost like offset there in the backfield. What was the thought process? Obviously, in the last play, you're just power, right? But what was the thought process on using some of the offensive linemen like that?
No, I think you bring up a great point. What was perceived, I would say, earlier on as a weakness on this team has now become a strength, and that has been through, Elliott and his team and the acquisition of guys like Lascidas. And look, Lascidas is one of those guys that practices hard. He's a great professional off the field as well, and we felt good putting those guys in to move the offense. To move the defensive lineman, and they did that.
Taylor Kyles, followed by Sophie Weller.
Coach, thank you for your time. With Marcus Jones, it seemed like he played outside more than we've seen in a while, matching up with Garrett Wilson. I was wondering, what was the thought process about that matchup? And also, how did you feel that went? Because obviously he gave up some catches, but also made some plays in the matchup as well.
I think that's a great question, Taylor. I would say there's no secret they like that matchup against 25, and they went after him quite a bit. And just like you said, he made some plays and gave up some plays. But at the same time, I would say just that dog mentality of being able to get up and go again the next rep. I thought Marcus definitely displayed that yesterday.
Thank you.
Let's have two final questions, Sophie Weller and Chris Ryan.
Hi, Jerod. Congrats on the win.
Thanks, Sophie.
I was curious. We kind of saw Javon Baker back returning, kick returns, which was kind of a new role for him. What did you see from him there? And how do you feel he's progressing to maybe get some opportunities as well with that wide receiver group in the game?
Yeah, he had one opportunity to run back a kick. Obviously, it was disappointing, but it wasn't just him. It was also just the blocking up front. Look, this guy is very explosive with the ball in his hands, and we have to, as coaches, we're in a solution-based business, find ways to get him the ball.
And last question, Chris Ryan.
Hey, Jerod, I want to ask you about a couple guys and how they've responded to adversity this year. And Ramondre, obviously, with the game-winning run, and also Jacoby Brissett and how he's handled things. What have you seen from both of those individuals behind the scenes, and how do they kind of set the tone when it comes to what type of sacrifices need to be made?
Yeah, I'll start with Ramondre. Look, obviously early in the season, he had a hard time keeping the ball, right? So as far as fumbles and things like that are concerned, and he had been going through some things, also off the field, and I tip my hat to a guy like that who's able to, once he crosses the white line, nothing else really matters, and so proud of him and what he's been able to do. And Jacoby is just, we said this, the ultimate professional, also a tough guy that is able to go out there and operate the offense, and we're blessed to have him.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everyone.